Hey, we're live. Kiwi and Kev. How you doing, team? Good to be here. Well, there's a bunch of you already in the room. That's cool. The dude is here. Have no fear, the dude is here. Haven't seen you for a while, man. Haven't seen you for a few weeks. Tavo, good to have you here, buddy. Josh Homan. Andy Nicol. Wow, you're all here. Tavo, good morning to everyone. Yeah, well, yes, it is good morning over there, isn't it? Beagle Bob's here as well. Awesome. So, what's been going on, lads? What did you all get up to over for your Labour weekend? Well, you Americans that celebrated Labour Day. That's not happening down in NZ and Aussie. But Chris Freemaster, did you see the video of Granddad cutting down that remu tree? Yeah, I did. That was a tough tree. That took him a while to cut that thing down. It was quite amazing. But yeah, it was kind of cool to watch. Yeah. Robert Meyer, good evening, sir. How you doing? Sergeant Mustang is in the room too. Cool. Welcome along. Stephen Bunky-Bird, enjoying your videos. Well, that's cool, man. That's the name of the game, really. Roy Miller, welcome along. Old timer. Good to have you here, mate. Tavo, what do we got? 9:30 a.m. Wednesday. I'll just quickly grab the Tuesday lottery numbers for everyone. There you go. Granddad's Junk. Hey, man, we were just talking about your video. Watched that last night, and yeah, very cool. It was a tough old tree that took a bit of cutting down, didn't it? And Stray Bullets here. Hey, man, how you doing? LVG's here. Chris Freemaster. Granddad's Junk. Hey, Mr. Lumberjack. There you go. Paul Funk. Well, we've got a busy room tonight. Very quickly. That's cool. 6th Street Garage. Welcome along. So, well, cheers, everyone. Cheers. What's everyone drinking tonight? I mean, Tavo's got an excuse because it's only 9:30 in the morning, so it's a little bit early, even for an Australian, you know. But yeah, otherwise, what's going on? Man, I actually had a 2-day weekend effectively, although I worked on Saturday. But I had Sunday, Monday off, which was kind of nice. Had the kiddos over. They were visiting from Memphis and around about. So, yeah, it was nice to have the whole tribe together for a couple of days. It was pretty cool. He's here, mate. He was here. Like, see, here's Kev. There's a beady eye hiding in there somewhere. Where's his eye gone? Here's his little beady eye. He's got his eye on you. He's looking a bit. He needs a bit of a brush. Actually, he's looking a bit scruffy. But, yeah, but never mind. Did they let him? They didn't let. Well, no, I think they did let him out of the asylum. That's what he's doing here, looking rather bedraggled. But hey, I'll have to give him a brush. Now, what do we got? Sergeant Mustang. I've been realising I'll probably have to redo the brake hard lines at my Canadian 61 Chrysler, among some other parts. Basically, a research heavy Labour Day weekend for me. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you got to do that though. You got to figure out what you're going to get and where you're going to get it from, and yeah, you can bury a few hours doing that. Beagle Bob, I'll be swinging by your shop in a bit. Going to be driving through the area in 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, well, cool, awesome. Look forward to seeing you. I'm going to be out of town next week, guys. So. Heading to Florida to catch up with Mrs. Kiwi's sister and her husband. So it's both the girls' birthdays, Mrs. Kiwi and her sister. Yeah, they're I think 3 days apart, about 3 years apart as well. But hey, but yeah. So yeah, next week I'll be out. There won't be a live next Tuesday night. So yeah, just be aware of that. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be good to see Beagle Bob. But yeah, so don't come. So 2 weeks, yeah, like this coming week I'm at work. The following week, I won't be, and then the week after that. So try and plan your visit around that, mate. I'd hate to miss you. LVG been doing better with the passenger door window regulator on the 60. Okay, just a bit seized up, is it? Just old age. Stray Bullet, what country just performed a rare wintertime rescue flight to McMurdo Base in Antarctica? Well, I'm going to say it was probably New Zealand, since it's the closest bit of land, to McMurdo Base. So, yeah, I'm going to say New Zealand. Sergeant Mustang, do you have any experience with hardline, steel, copper, nickel? Yeah, I do. The copper nickel stuff is fine. It's nice and easy to work with. Steels, and it's like it's not going to corrode like a steel line will. And so the steel line is usually plated with something, which is a good rust inhibitor. But you tend to kind of mar them up or break through that coating, usually in the bending process and that kind of thing. So if you've really got been up in Kanadistan, you might have some corrosion issues to deal with. So that copper nickel might be a better option. It is a little soft, so if you do a lot of dirt road driving, you don't, but if you were to, the bigger rocks can flatten them out a little bit if you're doing a fair bit of that sort of driving. But and then stainless steel, stainless steel is pretty, but it's very hard to flare and it's hard to bend. And unless you've got a really good flaring tool, like a really good flaring tool, not one of those little, O'Reilly's type, $30 ones, then those will not flare stainless steel very well, if at all. So yeah, but copper nickel, any old flaring tool will nail those things every time. Chris Freeman's, oh crap, they let him out. I'll be getting the restraining order against him tomorrow morning. Probably wise. He's heard about the things you've had to say about him. Yeah. Laurel Flynn, it's the school ball on Saturday, Kiwi. The neighbour's daughter and her boyfriend will be getting a ride in the Falcon. Oh, very cool. Hopefully there will be a few cars lined up at the Natia Hotel afterwards. Well, that'll be cool. Good little get-together. Awesome. That'll be great. Granddad's junk. Boy, those big chainsaws are heavy, especially getting older. I'm still sore. Oh, shit. Yeah, you did look like you were fading a little bit in the video there. Yeah, but hey, it took you a while to get through it, didn't it? But you got there, man. That was a big tree. How tall was that tree, do you think? Stephen Bunkybird, we're in Florida. We're flying into Miami and then spending some time there, some other place down that way as well, and going down the Keys. We're going to take a drive right all the way down the Keys. So we've never done that before. So, yeah, I think that'll, they've got, the two girls have got a bunch of stuff planned. So I'm just going along for the ride. You know how that goes. Tavo, are you in the dungeon, Kiwi, getting a little bit of buffering? Actually, no, I'm not. I'm up in the kitchen, or the dining room beside the kitchen. Okay, not sure. It took me 2 goes to get on tonight, so I don't know whether we've got a weak signal or something. I'm not. Yeah, my phone's showing 3 out of 4 bars. I'm not sure why you're getting buffering, man. Yeah, it all looks okay. You never can tell. Beagle Bob, around the 17th or 19th, depending on how long I can stay on the road each day. Okay, that'll work. I think we're back. I'm back on the 14th, so yeah, it'll be cool. Stray Bullet, it was New Zealand. Kind of figured it would be, yeah. Tavo, got my work cut out when the time comes. Big roll of stainless line for new lines, whole car. Well, that's the way to go. It really is. But yeah, you do. What sort of flaring tool have you got, Tavo? Because you'll drive yourself nuts with one of those cheap ones in stainless. You'll be lucky to get every second flare. Yeah, that'll be good. And you might be doing 3 flares to get one with a cheap flaring tool. Old timer, I want to waste 9K on putting a Whipple on my 2023 F150 4x4 with the 5.0. If if 400 horsepower is good, 700 must be gooder. It's a lot gooder. Yes. Wow. We'll bump it up to 700. That's some serious horsepower. That's a huge increase. Wow. Beagle Bob, old timer. Does that gen motor have a rubber belt? Does that generation motor have a rubber belt driven oil pump on the Coyote? I don't think. I'm not sure actually. To be fair, no, I'm not really sure. Wow, the comments are coming thick and fast. Tava, I have a dedicated 3/16 double flaring tool. All right, well, cool, good. Yeah, just have a couple of practice goes on before you start trying to flare the end of a nicely pre-bent line, or one line that you've got all bent up. Just make sure it's going to work, because it's frustrating when a flare doesn't quite go right and then you end up with the line too short. Ugh. Ask me how I know. Dave, going to look at a 2000 Miata Thursday, owned by an 82-year-old lady. Looks spotless, but we have to see what the underside looks like. Wish me luck. Well, good luck, mate. Yeah. You have a lot of salt up your way. That'll be what kills it, if there's salt. Yeah. Granddad's joke. It was 15 meters. Okay, that's still pretty big. That's close to 50 foot, isn't it? Volfly unbuffered. Oh dear. Tavo, buffering has stopped now. Oh, well, that's good. I must have fixed it. Not sure what I did, but hey, I'll take it. Sergeant Mustang, that's good info. I'll probably go with copper nickel in that tools acquisition stage, where I'm constantly finding I don't have this or that tool or reach size. A bit tedious, but it has to be done. Indeed it does, right? Dave, she's asking $5,000 for your Miata. 2000 Miata, 82-year-old lady. How many miles has it done? And has she owned it like for a long time, or most of the time, or? The dude, Kiwi, you should come to Fall Carlisle since you missed spring. What date is that, dude? 5K is not, if it's a really nice one, that's not out of the question for a Miata. Beagle Bob over 2019, and I know I would need a forged oil pump if I was to blow my Coyote. Yeah, I believe they're that powdered metal the oil pumps are made of, aren't they? That compressed powdered metal. Someone was telling me that that's what they use. And yeah, the supercharger just makes them work that much harder. LVG got, oh shit. Here we go. Got my 62 Beetle back on the road this week. Still runs a treat. Well, that's awesome. Well done. Volfly, the copper nickel brake line is a bit touchy. Too easy to over flare it. Have to be only slightly firm to flare correctly. Yeah, you certainly don't get out after it like you do with a stainless. So again, a few practice runs on, you don't wait till you've got it all, the 6 or 8 foot length all bent and ready to go, and then start screwing up the flares. That's not a good thing. Bob, I don't love the phrasing on that sentence. Oh dear. Paul Fink, my sister has a Kiwi friend who made a documentary about life on Antarctica called A Year on Ice. I recommend you watch it. Okay. Where can you watch it, man? Is that like a Netflix thing, or yeah? NYS GTO. Kiwi, whatever you do, don't mention knurling. No, I won't. All right, I promise I won't. Yeah. No, not a thing. Kerosene and cucumbers, Kiwi. Have you ever used Rust-Oleum farm implement paint? Not the spray paint. I've heard good things. Durable, more forgiving. Yeah, I have. That's actually. Is that the actual paint, or is that rust retardant? It's like I've used a Rust-Oleum one that's like a clear film. It's like an oily base sort of stuff. Comes in an aerosol can, and you can spray it on the bare metals, and it keeps it good for a good 6 months before it'll kind of wears away or like fades away, and you have some corrosion kicking in again. But it's a clear kind of, it's almost like sort of, but not really, like a WD-40, and you spray it on the metal. But WD-40 evaporates off in kind of no time flat. That the Rust-Oleum stuff I'm thinking of stayed on for at least 6 months. So, and that was pretty good. It was good for master cylinders and things like that, because if you did spill any brake fluid over it, it didn't eat off the paint because it wasn't paint, strictly speaking. So yeah, it was good for those. Granddad's junk. What a debate that knurling is still going. All the nutters had a lot to say. All the nutters had a lot to say about it. Yeah, it was. It was a stopgap thing, really, as I recall. It's been forever since I've heard about it or heard it mentioned. But yeah, from my memory, it was something kind of try and increase the size of the pistons ever so slightly. And just when you couldn't get pistons and stuff like that. So it was very much a stopgap measure, as I recall. Dave, use farm paint on my mower deck. Worked great. Okay. Maybe that's a slightly different product that we're talking about. The dude, October 1st to the 5th. I'll look at my heavily what's the word? Yeah, my very heavily populated calendar, and see how we're doing. 1st to the 5th. Okay. I will have a look and see. Volflay, I still like the copper nickel alloy brake line, but you just have to stay aware of how soft it is. Yeah. Yep. Oh, Beagle Bob, the Gen 3 has the sintered gears. Okay. NYS GTO Kiwi, Lucas Oil offers a 7.5W gear oil differential lube. Would you consider a lube that thin? I wasn't even aware they made it that thin, I'll be honest with you. No, that doesn't seem like a good idea. I'd be interested to know what the purpose of them making that one. It's like a zero weight oils. Certain modern engines really genuinely do need that, and they're made and the clearances are such that it's all worked around that zero, but you can't go putting it in your old 289 or 350 Chevy or anything like that. You're not going to end well. And I suspect it's probably made for a particular type of car, particular type of transmission. I'm guessing, I'll give you that. But 7.5 is very thin. I wouldn't go putting that in an 8-inch or a 9-inch or your 12-bolt, the sort of stuff we mess with, I don't think that'd be a good idea. But a little bit of research, that's just off the top of my head. So, yeah. Dave, the Miata has 114,000 miles. She's owned it for 2 years. Previous owners had it for the first 18 years. Lots of salt here in New England, supposedly never driven in the winter. Okay, well, do what I tell all my customers is get right under the thing, like take a jack and, some stands, and, if she's got nothing to hide, then she won't hide anything. But have a really good look at it. If it's had salt, you will know. There's no question about that. You will know if it's had salt on it. And like if it has had salt, if there's rust starting to form, there's rust in places, it's going on in places you can't see it. So yeah, you're gonna have to be fairly disciplined and not kind of fall in love with the thing like so many people do. They go, "Oh, this is such a cool car, and it's only got a little bit of rust in it," and then a few weeks later they realise a little was really a little more than what they thought. Fish Geraldine, good evening. What's the game plan on Steve's 54? Does he need any help on the paint and prep? Mate, probably, yeah. He's, now that we're throwing more and more sheet metal at it, he's getting a little more proud of it, which is cool to watch, to see that happen. And now he's talking more about wanting to paint it. So, yeah. I saw that comment that you made. I'm not sure whether I responded or not. It was kind of getting late last night, and it's been a long weekend. But yeah, I saw your offer there, and I did mention it to him today, and he was quite surprised. Which it's all good. But yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he would appreciate some help on the paint and the prep, and he did mention that he may be able to get because he. His other job is working for the school board, and he can get access to one of the school's paint booths. So yeah, that would help. Paul Funk, it's a DVD. Okay, I think it took him 10 years to make. Wow. Okay. I'll go online, see if I can find it. Volfly 7.5 or 75. Okay. 7.5 is the answer. It's called L9. Well, Volfly's never heard of it. Is differential GL5. Granny's junk. You're right. So was skirt flaring. Yeah, I thought that's what I remembered. It's forever ago, man. I seem to think I was like in my 20s when that was, or teens even, when that was a thing. And it was possibly, I don't know, but possibly just a New Zealand thing because of how hard stuff was to get that long ago. Yeah, I mean, I remember my Buick I waited 12 months to get a set of pistons for that out of the States. Just, the stuff was hard to get because it was all, well pre the internet. You couldn't just kind of put it in your cart and hit buy now like you can today. Volfly, double weird. I would recommend experimenting. I would avoid experimenting with it until someone else messes with it. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that seems very, very light. I'm not quite sure how it would be a gear oil, and a high pressure oil. But they're doing some weird stuff with oil now. Some crazy stuff like zero weight. I mean, that seems completely wrong to me. But I'm old school, so. Laurel Flynn, I like the look of Steve's 54 Chevy, a car I'm unfamiliar with being from New Zealand. One slight modification I would do is remove that chrome strip on each side. This would enhance the overall look of the car. Okay. Yeah, there's different stainless treatments on those 54s. The Bel Air had on the rear quarter had a double. They had a wide, they had like a double strip, and it was white in between usually to give you like about a 3-inch kind of molding effect on the back, which I quite like the look of. But yeah. It's there's many ways to do a car nice, But I will tell Steve your idea for sure and see what he thinks. Tavo, all things considered, automatic transaxles run ATF in the diff. Yeah. Well, I mean the Tremix run ATF in the transmissions. They're just a transmission, not a transaxle. Orlando Pockets. Cheers, Kiwi. Hope your day is going well. Yeah, it is going It is going well. Volfly, that ATF has a cooler. That's a good point. It's a good point. The dude, it'd be great if you could make it. I would love to meet. Oh, it'd be good to meet you too, man. I'll do my best to remind you every week. There you go. Yeah, I need to try and get out and about and kind of visit a few shows like that. So yeah, that's I'll see if I can talk Mrs. Kiwi into coming away for a weekend. And yeah, I'm not making any promises, but yeah, it's definitely a possibility. LVG, yep, I use a place called Wolfsburg West. Mine is still a 40 horsepower 6-volt car, stock as a rock. Huh. The old Beetle, 40 horsepower. Crazy, isn't it? Granddad's Jake. My grandfather had a 54 Chevy. He used to pop into the Benmore Hotel from the farm. I'll bet he did. Driveway of Misfits. The Lower Man's Vintage Garage VW is great for high quality restoration parts. J-Bugs is great for the more common mechanical bits. There you go. Fitzgeralding, cool. I'll prep and paint it for him. Just spring for a place for me to stay. Labour's on me. Like, that's awesome. You're being so generous with your time, which is really cool. I will pass that along. And I mean, it's going to be next year for Steve, I would say almost definitely, especially given we're into September already. But yeah. That's cool, man. I really, really appreciate it. It's amazing. Chris Freeman, so the 0.8 oil Toyota is using is crazy. It's like water. Josh Homan, 0 weight oil is no use. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my reaction to as well. But like Toyotas, they're no dummies. You know, they've been making cars and engines for many, many, many decades and doing a very good job of it. So they must have figured something out to be able to, use a 0.8 oil, put, I'm not sure what the warranty is on Toyota now, but it's got to be 50,000 miles. So it must be working. But yeah, I would have trouble pouring that into the engine of my car. I really would. But yeah. NYS GTO, shallow more viscosity. True enough. Yes, true. Josh Homer, true enough. Volfly, the lowest viscosity oil I messed with was 0.16, rather watery too. Toyota Prius. Yeah, it's it must be working. It must be working. Orlando Pockets looked at a 52 Ford this week, but it was far too rusty. There you go. Yeah, I mean, that's happening more and more. They're just getting harder, and the good ones go first, as they always do, always have. And yes, it's getting harder to find them. Fitzgeralding, new NHRA event at South Georgia Motorsport Parks, May 2026. Top fuel, nice. 55 minutes south of me. Oh, cool. That'd be a good weekend. We'll try not to book you for paint on that weekend, all right? NYS GDR, I'm looking for every 0.01 to improve my quarter mile time. Yeah. I'm not. I mean, look at the treacle they put in the top fuel cars for oil. I mean, that's thick. I mean, that's night and day difference, and whatever engine you've got, it's nothing like a top fuel engine. But yeah, depending what you're racing, I'd be a bit wary of going for some of those thin oils. Volfly, the super thin oils can work if the engine was truly designed for it, but I worry about how fast it can leak out. Okay. I still have a doubt with the roller camshafts, though. Yeah. Um, yeah, I would be reluctant to go putting thin oil to gain a little bit of horsepower, unless you start with a clean sheet of paper for your engine and build it completely around that. But I don't know that us, and the engine builders that are building engines are not going to have the kind of knowledge and testing that's available to people like Toyota. So I would. There's not a road I'd want to go down. But don't like blowing engines up either. Tavo, some engines really are fussy about oil. My first oil change in the Transit van, I threw the generic 15W40 in it. Had big issues, error codes. Apparently, it took too long to reach the chain tensioner. Yeah, putting a thick oil in an engine, I've heard of this similar things. Putting a thicker oil in an engine that was designed for a really thin one, with all the BVTs and the multi-displacement systems and all that sort of stuff, and the way that the lifters, open and close or stop opening and closing valves and stuff like that. That thick oil, it all just happens too slowly, and it upsets the computer, and they'll go into limp home. The dude, any chance of a live with Tommy Bosch's? Yeah, look, that's been bouncing around in my mind, and I need to catch up with him, which I will be doing soon. I know he's very busy at the moment. He's trying to get that Winnebago to the big Mo party, and he's got a bunch of other stuff kind of going on. So, but yeah, I think that's a very good chance of him doing that. He's working on promoting his channel, and so it's not a bad thing for him to be doing. So yeah, I think I can get Tommy on here, which would be cool. He's such a funny guy. You'll be if we can get him on here, you'll be laughing a lot, and possibly at my expense. But that's all right. I got broad shoulders. Ooh, the old camera's bouncing there. But yeah, he's a funny guy. He's a good dude. Driveway of misfits. What worries me is how much or little margin for error there is with zero weight oil. Yeah, well, you certainly can't run it longer. You can't sneak an extra 1,000 miles out of it like you could on the older oils and older engines. Not that that's a good idea anyway, but a huge amount of people do. But from what I've the buzz in the industry kind of thing is that you change your oil on or before, with the emphasis on before it's due, rather than waiting till exactly on its due. Because they just don't like it. They get dirty, little bits of carbon get stuck in the little tiny oil galleries that they have. So as you say, not much margin for error. Granddad's junk. The big buzz is you can get replacement panels for the 54. Yes, it's good you two work on it together. Yeah, I mean it's Steve's car, and we're kind of doing it after hours, and I'm kind of helping him as much as I can, and with that, and at the same time not taking, trying to teach him or get him, to have that hands-on practice as much as he can himself. So. It's working out well. He's growing in his skill base, which is cool. I get to help out a buddy, and it works out good for everyone. Volfly, have not seen any super thin oil Toyota engines fail yet. Odd but interesting. There you go. So you can't argue with that, can you? That's it doesn't make sense, but is that just because we don't understand it, so therefore it doesn't make sense? It doesn't. What that really means is we don't understand it. As opposed to it not making sense. It just doesn't make sense to us. But yeah, Toyota have got a lot of engines out there. They are, prolific car builders. LVG is still running 2050 flat Castrol tappet oil. Yeah. But you're not talking about running it in a new Toyota, are you? So, Orlando Pockets. Those panels for the Chevy sure seem like they're saving hundreds of hours of work. Yeah, absolutely they are. Yeah. I mean, you can make pretty much whatever if you have the time and the inclination. But, yeah, I think Steve's dropped probably $1,600 on sheet metal for the back of the car. But honestly, that's today's shop rates. That's 10, 12 hours. Not that much. So yeah, it's a good saving, really. NYS pure stock 65 GDO. Yeah, I gotta say, I really recommend you don't go with thin oil. Fitzgeralding, my Lexus uses 020 oil, no problems on 183,000 miles. There you go. Change to Valvoline Restore and Protect 2 changes ago. She's loving it, smoother and quieter. Yeah, 183,000 miles. I mean, everybody loves small block Chevy, but you couldn't get 183,000 miles out of a small block Chevy. You could not. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Granddad's Chung, NYS, try knurling, you should gain half a second. Not sure about that one. Beagle Bob, have you noticed the hype option on some videos? It's supposed to boost the algorithm for who it's suggested to. The hype option? No, I have not noticed the hype option. Where do you find that? Huh. NYS can't against CS rules. Okay. Huh. Volfly, I need to get my hands on the new Valvoline Protect Restore oil. I suspect they put just the amount of naphtha in. Okay. Paul Funk, my Avalon takes 0-20, but I change it every 5K, not to at a recommended 10K interval. Yeah. That's a smart move. Your oil can't be too clean, can it? But it can most certainly be too dirty. Josh Homan naphtha, I thought they use that in camping lanterns. I think they do, mate. Orlando Pockets, Volfly, I swear by putting a little seafoam in the oil for 200 to 300 miles before each oil change. Yeah, I get the concept. How effective it is, I don't know. Again, can't really hurt, can it? Volfly, naphtha is a cleaning fluid found in hardware stores. Yeah, I use it in quite good for getting rid of like wax and grease or greasy handprints and stuff when you're trying to clean a car ready for paint. Naphtha is good. You can use wax and grease remover, but naphtha is pretty darn good too because it doesn't flash off or evaporate off as quick as wax and grease remover, but it cleans just as well. So, Andy Nickel, working in the shop tonight, so keeping a low profile, but I'm listening. Well, mate, you get a 3 stars for that. For multitasking and working on your car. That's awesome, bud. Well done. Orlando Pockets. Oh shit, $1,600. That's it. Yep, that's a steal. Well, that was the 3 pieces of the tail panel. So the outer, like the back, the last 6 inches of the floor, and the brace that goes under it. So that was 3 pieces, and from memory, that was about $700. For those 3 pieces, and then the outer quarters or quarter repair pieces, they're not whole quarters, and then those inner, like the trunk drop-offs, they were about $900. So around about that, yeah. 2050 in the Valiant all the time, and it'll love it. It'll love it. It's perfect for it. It's perfect for it. It's what it should have, Volfly, I'm not a fan of seafoam. It's okay, but not a true miracle worker. Well, there's not many miracles in a can, is there? It's like octane in a can. Octane booster in a can. I mean, I don't buy that. I don't believe you can really boost your octane by 10 with a can full of stuff. Biggle Bob, anyone ever buy a soft camper shell? I'm looking at them from F350. No, not me, mate. Not a soft one. Granny Straight Tub, I use the Penrite oil. Good stuff in Aussie made. Yeah. Volfly, probably the same chemistry, Orlando. Yeah. Biggle Bob on the phone. It's where the comments are sometimes. Okay. The hype. I have to keep an eye out for it. Fish Geraldine, my last vehicle was a 98 Nissan Frontier. Bought new, sold it in 2019. 397,000 miles. Wow. Changed oil every 3,000 miles and still wasn't using any oil between changes. Yeah, it's that's a lot of oil changes, man. Man, that's a lot of oil changes. It was for nearly 400,000, or as good as 400,000 miles on it. That's yeah. What is that? 130 odd oil changes. That's a lot of oil changes. You're doing filters as well, or just or at the same time? Granddad's junk. It's got all the additives added already. Higher zinc for the older engines. Yeah, the older engines like a little bit of zinc. Volfly, random naphtha fact. It will dissolve bubble gum out of fabric without harming the fabric at all or leaving a scent after washing. I did not know that. Huh. Well, that's a handy hint. Yeah, that's very, very Martha Stewart of you there, Volfly. Very Martha Stewart. Paul Funk, make sure to hit the like button. He's right, guys. Hit the like button. It helps everything, and that's the lives, the videos, shorts, whatever. Hit that like button. Share it with your friends. The more shares it gets, the more YouTube like it, the more likes it gets, the more the more they promote it. And without YouTube pushing your videos, you kind of struggle a bit. I'll be honest with you. You really need them liking your, what they see on your channel, and it makes a huge difference. So yeah, that'd be cool if you can. Fabric, not vinyl. That's another story. Yeah, I imagine it would want to melt the vinyl, or at least soften the surface enough to make it sort of start to smear. Tavo, speaking of oil on the transit van, it needs a rear main seal. Ugh. Fun job. To get the gearbox out, I have to drop the front suspension cross member. That sucks. No lift or hoist, so on the ground job. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. Andy Nickel, LOL. No, working on my biz, fixing guitars. Oh, well, see, you could have just lied. You could have said, yeah, I'm working on my car, you see. So now you go back from 3 stars to 1 star. Sorry, mate. But hey, you get the 1 star for listening in while working. So good deal. Good deal. Steve Sadusky. Hey, welcome along, man. Sorry I'm late. Just finished pulling out the rear axles on my Monte Carlo SS so I can replace the axle bearings and seals tomorrow morning. Yeah, dirty job, but someone's got to do it, man. Yeah. Good on you for working on it this late at night. Orlando Pockets goes to find naphtha and gum. Put it to the test. Paul Funk, I use Brad Pen 1540 in all my vintage stuff. It's really sticky oil, which is perfect for stuff that's not run on a regular basis. Yeah. Volfly sat in a bubblegum lace movie theater seat once. You sure it was bubblegum, Volfly? I hope it was. Fish Geraldine, yes, change the filter every change as I do with my Lexus. Cheap insurance as far as I'm concerned. Orlando Pockets, ooh, definitely you. Yeah. But it is cheap insurance for shielding. Yeah, it is. And as proved by their mileage, I mean, yeah, Nissan would have, they'd have been impressed with that, I would think. That's a lot of miles, man. And it wasn't worn out at that point. It still wasn't using oil. So how long would it have gone if you kept doing that? I guess we'll never know now. Sergeant Mustang, hey Kiwi, I used JB Weld to patch the intake manifold gasket surface without issue. Any issue with using it to fill small pits on a wheel cylinder and sanding it smooth? Mate, I couldn't recommend that, and only because it's brakes and it's high pressure. I mean, on an intake manifold surface, your pressure is not that great. It's not like a head gasket surface. The most pressure you've got is at the water jackets. And hydraulics, and if it fails on an intake manifold, you get a water leak. You get an overheating issue. When if it fails on your wheel cylinders, that can be pretty catastrophic. So I'd have to say I don't recommend that. Could you do it and could it work? Probably, yeah. Probably. But yeah, it's made for the price of wheel cylinders. I don't see the upside of that. Anyway, that's just my 10 cents worth. Volfly, absolutely pink bubblegum. Savage Bastards nearly ruined my favourite jeans. Oh dear. Steve, at least if you pull a tyre, the car won't slap your face. Oh, geez. You guys, I don't know. Steve Sadusky, I hit the like button, I promise. There you go. Volfly, I'd say no on the wheel cylinder. Maybe you could electroplate some metal on it or sleeve it. I mean, even if it's a rare wheel cylinder that you can't get, you can get them re-sleeved, and that is really what you should do. It's just too much on the line with hydraulics, and I mean that hydraulic fluid is pretty corrosive. I mean, if you left it on your front fender ever, you'll wish you hadn't. It'll eat paint. So what would it do to JB Weld over a period of time? I'm sure it's not going to eat it like as quick as it does paint, but I just don't think it's a good idea. But Sergeant Mustang, that's a good point. I'll look into sourcing some good replacements. Yeah. Dave, brake fluid, just what I said. Brake fluid's very corrosive, dissolves all kinds of things. Test it off the car first, and of course it's hydroscopic, so it takes on water. And I'm not really sure how JB Weld likes water. I mean, obviously not a lot of it, but a moisture content, For shielding, never on a wheel cylinder, brake fluid would eat the JB Weld up. It like it does to automotive paint. Too dangerous. I couldn't do it. I mean, in a bind, when me and Steve were coming back across the country in March, and if that could have made us, got us through the last day or something, doing something like that, then and you drive accordingly, but not as a true repair. Right, so what else is going on, guys? We've the comments of I'm still live. Looks like I'm live. Yep. Stephen Carter, the Kiwi gang, my favourite people. Very good. Cool. Thank you. Jeff Dean, 64. Snap-on tools, are they worth paying the premium? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. They're they're very expensive, and you can buy some good lifetime guarantee. There's some good tools, alternatives out there. And you shop around, there's some cheap junk out there, but there's other pretty good stuff. And some of it looks identical to Snap-on, just doesn't have the markings on it. So yeah, it's a little Snap-on's a little pricey for what you get, but and some of their toolboxes are like, wow. I can buy quite a good car for the price of some of their toolboxes. So yeah, I'm going to say no. And I mean, maybe if you're like a full-time tech and have got a lot of years in front of you, then yeah, okay, maybe so. Maybe it's worth it to get a lifetime guarantee when you're using them 5 days a week and using them hard. That could well be, and I mean, I think that's the market Snap-on aim at. But if you're a weekend warrior, I don't see the value. I don't see that there's enough return on your investment. Barracuda, how do they squeeze babies for their oil? Oh my goodness me, I give up. Barracuda, how do they squeeze babies for their oil? Vilefly, come to think of it, copper electroplating should do rather well towards preserving the cast iron from corrosion. I sense an experiment to try. Well, yeah. Snow crusher. Small pits on a wheel cylinder will not affect its operation, whereas lumps and bumps as well as grooves and scratches will damage the rubber piston seal, causing leakage past and loss of fluid. Yep, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, often the rubber seal will follow into the little pits and kind of follow them through with a minimal amount of leaking. But yeah, it depends how bad it is. Vilefly, only the specialty Snap-on tools, specialty or bust. Yeah, I think that's probably good advice. Vilefly's, he's a full-time tech, and so yeah. But yeah, you can you'd easily drop 100,000 on Snap-on tools if you want to be 100% Snap-on, which is a lot of money. Sergeant Mustang, luckily the pitting is basically all in the center of the cylinder between the seals. Okay, big gunky pieces got into the cylinder and couldn't make it past the seal, it seems. Okay. Yeah, if it's right in the middle where the moisture's probably been caught and not getting wiped away by the seal, then if it's in between the seals, it's probably not too bad. But if it is in between the seals, I wouldn't bother with the JB well, because if the seal doesn't run over that area, then it's kind of no harm, no foul. Tavo, I'm in a bit of a bind here. Looking at an AP5 Regal push button auto, running clean, ready to go. 18K. Wow. Almost tempted to get rid of the project and the ute to buy it. Oh, that'd be a shame to see the project go and the ute. That's a tough one. But yeah, you can jump straight in it and start enjoying it. That's the thing. That's the thing. Gosh, 18 grand for an AP5 Regal. Wow, that's. I mean, I'm sure that's a realistic price, but I owned an AP5, a lifetime ago, and I think it was like $1,500 or something, and it was a nice one. Yeah, just crazy stuff. But I can see the draw. I understand how you'd want to have it, but can you get rid of the project in the ute in a timely manner without really killing your sale price and in time to get your hands on the AP5? It'd be horrible to sell one of them and then have the AP5 sell to someone else. So if you're going to do it, you need to kind of get out of the two project cars quickly, or the project in the ute. That's a tough one, buddy. Sergeant Mustang. Nonetheless, those gunky pieces corroded the centre of the cylinders. Oh, yeah, they will. They will. Ooh, maybe a millimetre or so deep. Yeah, that's deep. Millimetre deep is like the seal's not going to be able to cope with that if it runs over those parts of it. But yeah, you'd have to do. You'd want to be fairly confident that the rubber seal's not on those pits. But I mean, it's going to let you know because it'll leak pretty quickly. Like if you put new seals in it and it promptly starts leaking, then you know that the seals are actually on those millimetre deep pits. So, because measuring that would be difficult to try and figure out actually where the pistons are going to sit, depending on the wear in the brake shoes and that kind of thing. Steve Sadusky, where'd he go? Oh, you just shot up the page. I have to replace the right rear caliper on my 2014 Silverado too. Seems lately it's either rear axle stuff or brake stuff. There's a black cloud following me or something. Yeah, you have periods like that, don't you? Where just nothing, just everything wants to go wrong with your vehicles. I've been there, done that. Volfly, the copper layer equals primer, so to speak. Yeah, I guess you'd have to plate it numerous times and then re-hone the cylinder to try and get it flat again. But holy moly, if those pits are a millimetre deep, that's an awful lot of layers of copper to build a millimetre. That millimetres, well, it's not quite a 16th of an inch, but it's close. 20 round figures, 25 millimeters in an inch, so it's like 1/24th, I guess, of an inch. Which, that's a lot of plating. Beagle Bob, Volfly. I don't know where I got the idea that they were incompatible. Okay. Stephen Carter bought an SS Monty, new in '85. Nice. You still got it? Granddad's joke. My first car was an AP5. Great car. 18K is cheap, really. They can go for 25 to 30. Oh, really? Wow. I'm so out of touch with the prices on that stuff. Robert Meyer. Snap-on line wrenches are the best, in my opinion. I overset, and I can tell the difference between them and every other brand I've ever used. Interesting. Okay, that's a good little bit of information. Because a cheap line wrench will still flex and round off your tube nut. So I have to say I haven't used the snap-on line wrenches, so it's good info. Volfly, the graphite and cast iron might make it difficult. Beagle Bob, can't be white iron like a brake rotor. Okay. You get into some interesting metallurgy there. Josh Homan, yes, zinc goes directly on. Okay. Barracuda, my first car was a very tidy AP6 in '81. I think it cost $12.50-ish. Yeah. Yes. Should have bought 10 of them, buddy. Yeah. Volfly, I think zinc is active enough for direct application. Yeah, just need a lot of it. Beagle Bob, I really like my right wrenches. Just as good as snap-on. SK is also pretty decent, but I haven't seen any large SK wrenches. I don't think snap-on is worth the price. Yeah, I tend to agree. Haven't seen SK around for a long time. I haven't seen any SK this part of the world anyway. Volfly, probably better to swage a copper sleeve into a heavily pitted wheel cylinder. A copper sleeve? Well, that's interesting. I had some wheel cylinders re-sleeved, and they used a stainless steel sleeve. That was on an old International for that Mike Wolf of American Pickers. I worked on it. He had one of those, like a 1940 International. And you couldn't buy new wheel cylinders, and they were a weird wheel cylinder, a little bit like the forward look Mopars. They were expensive to get redone, but sent them away, and 6 weeks later they came back with a stainless steel sleeve on them. Very thin stainless steel sleeve, like 32nd of an inch, like wall thickness, maybe, stainless steel sleeve. You could just see it. It was very thin. I'm not quite sure how they pressed it in there, or heated it, cooled it in there, or whatever the process was. But it was a very thin sleeve, and beautiful finish inside the wheel cylinder once they'd sleeved it, and worked like a charm, and would obviously be very good for anti-corrosion, being stainless steel. But they were, I think the wheel cylinders for the car, or the truck, I should say, for all four corners was like $1,000. So sort of, ouch. Yeah. Steve Sadusky Snap-on tools are way overpriced. Yeah, I mean, I did buy some Snap-on. To be fair, they were Blue Point, which is their tier 2, if that's the right expression. Tools, they're Blue Point tools, but Snap-on themselves didn't make tin snips, only the Blue Point, and they lasted really, really, really well. It took me a long time to dull those off. They were very good tin snips. Sergeant Mustang, I buy a lot of stuff from SK. They don't make everything in the USA anymore. Recently started outsourcing to China, if I recall. Volfly, SK is sold by O'Reilly Auto Parts. That I did not know. Huh. I haven't been looking in the right places, have I? Stephen Carter, the Monty was half metric from Canada, had to buy metric spanners and sockets. Yeah, that's frustrating, man. It's funny. Like when back in New Zealand, I had almost entirely metric toolbox, and then came here and kind of had to ditch all the metric, or most of it, and go back to standard. Josh Homan, almost everything is overpriced these days. Well, yeah. Steve Sadusky, S&K are great old tools. I have a few of them. Yeah. People Bob, sergeants a shame. Very few tools made in this country. Yeah. Very little of anything's made in this country anymore, but hopefully that'll change. I bought some engine mounts the other day for that Camaro I had in. We did the Holly fuel injection on it, the Sniper, and that broke an engine mount, and so I ordered some in. We wanted rubber ones, which there's a huge amount of different urethane ones, prothane and that sort of stuff. And the ones that I got, I ordered them, and they were kind of the most expensive rubber ones I could find, and they were made in the USA. And when I say the most expensive, they were still like $25 each or something. They were not high, and it was made in America. So we can do it here. But I mean, also the cheapest rubber engine mount I could find was like about $6. So, but yeah, if you want to try and hold your tweaked 350 on a $6 engine mount, well, good luck to you. Volfly stainless is a way better option, I bet. I think it would. Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. It would really seem like it would be, but yeah, expensive. $1,000 for I can't remember how many wheels. I have a feeling it was 2 wheel cylinders per wheel, or maybe just two per wheel on the front. Yeah, it's too long ago. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't 4. But yeah, $1,000 odd, and that was 8 years ago. So it'd be more expensive now. They got to be. Steve Sadusky, I've always been a Craftsman and an S&K guy. Yeah, I quite like. I mean, Craftsman do have some of their ratchets, and their cheap ratchets are not very good. But they're better ones. Their professional line and stuff, really not bad. Really not bad. And their sockets are fine. You know, stuff like that. Their wrenches are really pretty good. So yeah, not a bad product. Lock and Tecton make a respectable number of affordable tools here in the US. Yeah, I've got some Tecton bits and pieces, some Tecton wrenches and some Tecton sockets, and they're hanging in there. Fish Geraldine, I still have some S&K wrenches, sockets and ratchets, and some Cornwell stuff too. Yeah, the Cornwell stuff's not bad. Not as expensive as Snap-on, but not cheap either. Barracuda Kiwi, have you ever stripped and polished a brass radiator top tank? No, I have not. No, not something I've ever done. I don't think it'd be very hard to do. Brass polish is pretty easy. I mean, there's look, radiator tanks are typically pretty busy as far as their shape goes, and all the little contours and grooves and stuff stamped into them, but could give a good look, and then, when you go back a long way, 100 plus years, that was the brass car era kind of they talk about. And the polished brass radiator was part of, the outside finish of the car. So, yeah, it was a thing. Wow, Granddad's Junk. I still have a box of Eagle brand Whitworth tools, good for old English cars. Yeah, they would be. Yeah, my dad had some Whitworth tools, just bits and pieces. Unfortunately, don't know what happened to them. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But hey, the OG, original Proto SK Mac holder. Yep, that would be. Yeah, I would expect that. Yeah. Volfly, some of the best pliers and cutters are Nipex brand. Yes, yep, I agree completely. I particularly like my Nipex flat jaw channel lock pliers. Work great for AC fittings, without damaging the aluminum hex on. There you go. I wouldn't have thought of a channel lock being good for AC fitting. Oh, flat jaw. Okay, that makes flat jaw makes sense. Yeah, not a bad idea. Tavo, most of my good tools are Kingcraft. Haven't heard of those. Taiwanese clones of Snap-on. I also have the lifetime warranty. Cool. Only damage mine have in nearly 40 years is the chrome peeling off 9/16 open end ringy. They won't know what you're talking about, a ringy or a ring spanner. Over here in the States, they call them box wrenches. I'm quite sure how they come up with box from a ring. I mean, it does the end of the open end ring spanner, a box spanner is a box wrench, is a ring. It's not a box. It's not square. But that's what they call it here. And when you ask, one of your buddies to pass you, or American buddies, pass me a ring spanner, they're like, what? They're just completely lost. So, yes, so for my American listeners, watchers here, a ring spanner is also a box wrench. Steve Sadusky, the old Craftsman tools are great, not so much on the newer. Well, everybody wants some of that. I blame the consumer, us, ourselves, for that. We always want more for less, and in some cases, that's exactly what they give us. Well, with an emphasis on the less. Yeah, they do it for less money, but yeah. Chavo, workmate at Wrecker's Yard's dad was their rep. Okay. When they brought out a new range, he would bring us a set each with one instruction: do your best to break them. Lots of quality tools free. Mate, that's awesome. That's a good friend to have. Stephen Carter, Flitz is your friend. I have a tea bucket. Flitz is your friend. I have a tea bucket. Not quite following that one, Stephen. Vilefly, be right back. Have to make dinner. Pork chops, simple garlic butter, spice flavouring. Oh, well, it's always nice to know what Vilefly's eating. He seems to eat quite well, doesn't he? Barracuda, I have a King Tony socket set. Good quality, but the plastic tray is disintegrated and they don't sell replacements. More than a bit annoying. Well, yeah, that'll be a little bit annoying. But well, you can buy a lot of toolbox kind of storage bits and pieces like that these days. That's become much more a thing, toolbox storage, which makes sense. You need your tools in some kind of order. Says the guy with tools all over his bench most of the time. Tavo, only when they passed our Wrecker's Yard test, he put in the main order and stocked them. Wow, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Steve Sadusky, we're all going to Vilefly's house for dinner. Yeah, pork chops sound pretty good, don't they? Freemasson. Of course he eats well. No shortage of Fords in need of expensive repairs. Oh, dear. Yes, there's some truth to that. Some truth to that. King Tony are good tools. So are Ting tools. Yes, I've got quite a few Ting tools. They made a push here recently in the States. They were, sponsoring a number of people. And they were very active in social media for a while, and they kind of died down again. I don't know whether they've, gained the momentum they wanted or whether they've kind of abandoned ship. I'm not actually sure. But Ting Tools make some nice stuff. I had a Ting ratchet that I'd had for over 25 years, and it finally gave up. And I contacted them, and they sent me a repair kit for it, like free of charge. And it came. They didn't have one here, and they got one because they're made in Switzerland, I believe, somewhere there in Europe. The Ting tool sounds a bit Japanese, doesn't it? Ting, but it's actually not. It's a European brand. And about a week and a half later, this package arrived from Switzerland or somewhere with a repair kit for my ancient ratchet on it. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I was just hoping I could buy something to fix it because it's like a favorite old ratchet. It's so smooth and it's just a very good ratchet. And you guys all know you get your favorite tools in the toolbox and your go-tos. And I was thrilled when I got the replacement parts free. It was like, yoo-hoo. Snow Crusher. I went to work as a mechanic in the 70s with a new set of Craftsman tools. I found that the raised panel on the wrenches and the grooves on the screwdriver handles were hard on the hands. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Interesting. I mean, it's. I think Craftsman tool are aimed a little bit more at the not so hardcore professionals. Andy Nickel, the outside of the wrench may be a ring, but the inside outlines a 6 or 12 corner box. There you go. Looks like a ring spanner to me, mate. To me, a box is a square, something like that. But hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. Snow Crusher slowly acquired more and more snap-on tools with the high polished, smooth handles, and they were much more comfortable. Actually, that's a fair comment. But I'm not. I use my I'm mechanicking, a reasonable amount of my time, wrenching, call it that. So yeah, but not like a full-time mechanical tech. So yeah, I get away with a little bit, sort of less expensive. Barracuda. Tony doesn't sound like a proper name for a king. King Tony. Yeah, it should be King Farouk or something, shouldn't it? Like, yeah. Granddad's junk. That's very rare customer service. I've got a set of open end spanners, Team Tools, very good quality. Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised with Team Tools on that one. I promptly got on their website and bought a bunch more of their stuff. Granddad's junk, except for me. Well, I built some boxes and they're not all square, LOL, but the ring spanner sounds more European. Well, yes, that's true. Yes. Dynamax, hey Kiwi from sunny Wednesday afternoon in Levin. There you go. What happened to the Cougar you were building into a fastback? Fortunately, that went away. The customer just had basically run out of budget to build it. He did say he was going to bring it back, but I haven't seen him. But he had 3 other cars he was in the process of building. 2 Ford Lightning trucks. One was a real hot rod, like huge, 2 big, huge turbos on it, and an absolute rocket ship that was costing him a fortune to get it running properly. Surprise, surprise. He was trying to get a lot of horsepower out of a 5.4, which it was a good way to spend money. But yeah, so I don't know. We may see it back one day. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Steve Sadusky, the old Craftsman wrenches were designed for the mechanics with greasy hands. Today's wrenches are too polished and slip out of your hands. Well, okay. Yeah, I can kind of see that as well. Yeah, it's coming at the same, like 2 good reasons for 2 very different types of product. When speaking Australian, Chuck is a half ringy, flows a bit better than Chuck is a half boxy. Well, yes. Fish Geraldine, bedtime for this old fart. Doing head gaskets on my neighbour's boat tomorrow. Oh, 351 Windsor, easy access anyway. Yeah, apart from climbing in and out of the boat. It's probably easier access than an engine bay, but kind of awkward. It's down very low. I find working on boats quite challenging. They're very low, so you end up with. I bet you got a sore back by the end of the day, buddy. I mean, I hope you don't, but I wouldn't be surprised if your back was saying, "What the heck?" Because you'll be in different positions to what you used to. That's what I've found working on boats, anyway. But good luck. I'm sure you'll get it done. That's going down quite nicely tonight, I have to say. A little bit of Applejack. Right, what else is happening, guys? You've gone quiet on me. So give me some feedback on the Sunbeam, guys. What do you think? What do you think I think about the Sunbeam? It's kind of the whole Tiger thing's got some American underpinnings to it, but it's essentially a very British sports car. So I must admit there was a little bit of trepidation on my part as to like how how the guys going to like that? The videos seem to be doing quite well, and I haven't really gotten into the fun stuff, what I'd consider the fun stuff yet, which is coming fairly soon. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that video series goes. I got some pretty kind of radical, but they're not going to look radical ideas on it. So yeah, time will tell. Barracuda, I hate working under dashboards. Yeah, me too. Me too. I take the seats out. I don't have to be looking at much work before I pull the front seats. It's just so much easier. Steve Sadusky, I'm not drinking bourbon, but I am drinking beer. Cheers. Cheers, mate. Cheers. What sort of beer are you drinking? Granddad's junk. Tell us about Marge. Mate, I haven't touched her for, gosh, probably 2 months. And I have to say I'm getting a tad frustrated with my engine builder. So I pulled the engine on Marge thinking I better get it out because, he's an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half away, depending on traffic. So it's a little bit of a haul to get there and back. That's 3. By the time you stop and, figure out what you're doing and, have that discussion with them, it's 3.5 to 4 hour trip, like half a day. So I don't like going up there every other week. And he's got a Pontiac motor there for me, which I expected to have back like 3 weeks ago. And it's still not ready. He's had it for well over 6 months. And yeah, so I've been putting off taking the Marge's engine up there. I thought I'll do it, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And, the Pontiac engine will be ready in a couple of weeks and we'll just swap them over. But, yeah, 2 months has gone by and, yeah, Marge's engine's still sitting on the stand in the workshop. So that's really not getting it done. But the other good engine builder in Nashville he's so busy that he's just not taking engines in the door at the moment. So, yeah, it's pretty frustrating. I've got to be honest. I would have thought we'd be a wee ways down the road with Marge's engine, at least have the block board and, sonic checked and all that kind of fun stuff. Have a balanced rotating assembly and stuff like that. But no, it's just sitting on my hands kind of thing when it comes to Marge. So I've been throwing myself a little bit more at the Sunbeam and the F100 a little bit more. Waiting on a drive shaft for that, which was meant to take 2 days, and that was a week ago. So going to have to ring him tomorrow. That's a week. Tomorrow's a week, and it's like, where's my drive shaft? I could have got one made and sent up from Florida. I often use a place called PST, Precision Shaft Technologies in Florida. When I'm doing the Tremec swaps and stuff like that. And mate, I'll have a drive shaft from Florida shipped to the door in 3 days. So, yeah, getting stuff done in any kind of time frame is just getting harder and harder. Chris Freemasser was just about to ask if you've made any further progress on the Sunbeam. A little bit. Got the rocker cut off it, the left-hand side rocker. I've already done the right-hand side rocker. So I've got the left-hand side rocker cut off it, and that's kind of the next thing to do is I want to put the outer rocker on it and repair some of the torque box area before we start really cutting it up, mainly because I want to make sure it's strong enough and there's a fair amount of rust in that driver side torque box area. Like when you put your head in there now, there's a lot of daylight. So I'm a little bit concerned that front corner's, if we cut too much floor out of it and that little X brace deal that it has under the floor, that we're going to have some serious movement issues going on. So I want to try and get that done, which is not super thrilling viewing. It's not bad, but like cutting the floor and all the chassis out of it and stuff is is good viewing, and trying to get it on this Miata floor pan is I'm kind of looking forward to that. Josh Homan, a good project. I think so. Thank you. Tavo, yes, craftsmanship at its best there, widening those panels. Oh, thanks, man. Compare that to the trouble I'm having just patching holes like for like. Oh, mate, it's just the benefit of having done it for years, Like if you've been doing that, every day for years, you'd be just as good as me. But yeah, it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, that Sunbeam. But yeah, so hopefully the next video will be like getting that rocker on there and some of that rust cut out of that, as I say, the left front talk box area, and then it'll be into cutting all the rusty floor in the front chassis and suspension and all that stuff out of it, and seeing what we're left with. Dynamax, interesting mix of abilities you have in panel work and mechanical. What is your background and training? My background and training is in panel work, and the mechanical just come along with it. A lot of that is just the school of life in the mechanicals, and just having a go at it and figuring it out, and having people around me, friends kind of thing that could help me on stuff that I didn't know. So I've really just picked it up. So no official formal training on mechanicals, but the School of Life is a pretty good university, Snow Crusher outboards aren't that hard to work on, but inboard outboards and inboards are much worse, especially changing out starters without cutting a hole in the bottom of the boat. Yes, indeed. Outboards are, that's quite different, isn't it? Never really worked on it. I don't think I ever have worked on an outboard. But yeah, inboards I find very hard on your back, with that, or you're lying down in the bilge on some really, some very uncomfortable positions trying to get it stuff down low. Like you say, starter motors. Even draining oil is a drama, isn't it? Like, unless now more today these days where you've got the suction pumps, you can suck it out. But prior to that, like when I was messing around with boats with my old man, like you just had to drain it into the bilge and then get it out and clean it, Granddad's joke, that's annoying. Can't wait to see the mighty Polly going. Oh, you and me both, bro. You and me both. So, don't know. I am, seriously thinking of like looking further afield and try and find a machine shop with a good reputation that's maybe out of state. That's. I really don't want to, like, this 2 months have gone by. I don't want to get it there and then it'll be another 6 months. That's just too long. It's the trouble with the Poly though. You can't like just ring up and order a crate motor. So yeah, I've got to find someone that can get it done a little quicker. Snow Crusher, watercraft are the worst, like working on a motor in a bathtub. Yes, that's a good analogy. That's a very good analogy. Steve Sadusky, anyone know where I put my O-ring? I can't seem to find it. Mate, I have that problem most days, it seems, more and more these days. Phil Buckley, hey, welcome along, bud. Welcome along. Eagle Bob, Steve, it's where you left it, just over there. Yeah, just behind the Bob. Yeah. Nah, you left it in the fridge when you got a beer. That's the sort of shit I do. I go looking for something, I inevitably put down what I've got in my hand and not even really aware that I put, the wrench that I had in my hand down because I'm looking for something else. The whole Kiwi piston knurling has gone ballistic on the auto channels. You may have seen the drama. No, I haven't. I gathered there was some sort of drama. Like, what's that about? Are the engine builders sort of arguing amongst themselves, are they? God, I can only imagine what Uncle Tony has to say about that. But I'm sure he's got a very strong opinion on it. The Holes, all the best from Melbourne, Australia. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, sir. I would certainly trying to. Steve Sadusky, funny, yes. Granddad's junk. Give Mopar Joe a call. He does good engine work. Mopar Joe. Okay. Where's he? Driveway of Misfits. Ask Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage to rebuild Marge's engine. That would be cool. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, he might be interested in doing that. He doesn't do the machining though, does he? He puts the engine together, right? But I don't think he. I mean, he might have a good machine shop that he uses. But the two good machine shops we got here around Nashville are just so backed up. It's just insane. Oh, Barracuda, lived in Melbourne for a while, Cheltenham. I've been to Melbourne, but I have never lived there. Lived in Sydney for a while. Steve Sadusky, the Holes, I've seen the drama on piston knurling. Okay, you got to tell me what that's about. What's the drama? Granddad's Jack Jamie is doing a poly. Well, there you go. Oh, good Lord. Tavo, from what I've heard, Tony is at the centre of it. Oh, my God, why am I not shocked? It really was done as a stopgap thing. It was a band-aid on a problem. And if anyone's trying to pass it off as some sort of a performance thing, that's just bollocks. I'm sorry, it's just bollocks. Granny's saying Arkansas. Okay, well, it's not that far away. Chris Freeman said Jamie doesn't do the machining, but he has a good machine shop near him. Okay, well, maybe where is Jamie? He's a fair way away from me, isn't he? Barracuda, steak and kidney. What are you talking about, mate? Pies? Barracuda. Lived in Melbourne for a while, Cheltenham. Steak and kidney. Okay, you lost me there, bud. Poor Funk. Your O-ring kit is probably sitting next to my last beer. Steve Sadusky. Yep, Tony is in the middle of it, and he's is he really? I'm guessing, but is he really saying it's a performance thing? Driveway of Misfits. Can I get steak and kidney without the kidney? Mate, I'm with you. I do not like kidney. No. Do not like. No, yuck. I couldn't do a steak and kidney pie. Steak pie, yes, all day long. Steak and kidney, no. Jamie's in Washington State. Yeah, that's a long way to even send a beer block. That's a long way. Big T said it made power, then a machine shop debated it, then another person got on board, did a dyno test. It has more drama than a soap opera. Yeah, well, dyno tests can be, what result would you like on your dyno test? The dynos are so easy to manipulate, so easy, and you can make something look bad, worse than it really is, and you can make something look better than it really is. And they've been doing that for years. That's why you get all these weird products that, dyno proven to give you 20% more power and, 17.5% more fuel economy. And, you put it in and it's no friggin' different. That's been my experience anyway. Max Level, good evening, Kiwi. Great show. My dart may be psychic. The day I bought a jump pack, she stopped charging. Curious, have you ever driven an amphibious car or worked on one? No and no. No. Seen a couple at car shows, like maybe 2, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. But no, it would be kind of interesting. I've got a DeLorean, like a 10,000-mile DeLorean coming into the shop in a few weeks. I'm not sure whether I mentioned that last week or not. Can't remember. But yeah, so that's kind of, I really only said yes because it's like something I've never even I've seen them, but I've never laid a hand on one. So it's going to be interesting to get it in the shop, get it up on the rack, and see if it does indeed have a flux capacitor. And that could be the problem. What do we got? Barracuda, Sydney, steak and kidney. Aussie slang. Okay. I'm with you. Volfly, never had steak and kidneys. Sounds interesting. This coming from a guy that likes haggis. Ugh, haggis. I've never had haggis, actually, to be fair, but it just doesn't sound appealing. Barracuda, I prefer steak and mushroom pies, actually. Me too, mate. They're good. They're good. Haggis. Volfly, you've got really interesting culinary tastes. That's kind of cool. Steve Sadusky, knurling a piston, in my opinion, is only for a short-lived nightmare. Yeah, exactly. They did it in New Zealand way back when because you couldn't get replacement pistons, or if you could, they were so expensive. Josh Homan, Tony has talked about dyno manipulation. Yeah, and I mean that's like I think most of us, although we might disagree on maybe a lot of subjects, most car guys that have done any amount of work with dynos and that kind of thing will agree that manipulation is a fact of life. Tavo, egg and bacon pie down here, thanks. Yeah, bacon and egg pie, that is pretty good. You call them egg and bacon, we call them bacon and egg. I think they're the same, just quietly. The holes, UTG said knurling has less friction. The Dan Powell came in, then Danny Schultz came in, and the consensus is the tighter clearance holds more compression, equaling 1% more power, but the knurling doesn't last. Yeah. Well, my question is, how do they measure 1% more power? You need a slight change in the barometric pressure, in the moment that you're doing the dyno test, let alone a 5 or 10 degree temperature swing. Even the time of day, you get way more than a 1% swing if you dyno an engine at 7 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. You get way more than 1%. So I don't know how they can accurately come up with 1%. I mean, that's very hard to measure accurately. And I'm actually going to say call BS on it because it's just impossible to measure. Like 1% is nothing. Volfly pie, not so much. Mate, steak and mushroom pie. Steak and kidney pie is very popular, but just not for me. I go for cherry pie usually. Beagle pie. Barracuda, I feel a bit piggish now. I mean, you and me both, mate. I could go a good Kiwi meat pie. I really could. I miss a good Kiwi meat pie. When I do go back to New Zealand, I have it's a minimum of a meat pie a day, every day, without fail. Like that's just lunch. That's just pre-booked. What's for lunch on any day when I'm back in New Zealand? The answer is a meat pie. Steve Sadusky, what is haggis? It's a Scottish dish. Obviously, Volfly is going to know this. Oh, here we go. Volfly's already replied. Sheep stomach stuffed with lungs, liver, and barley. Doesn't that sound delightful? Like, why would you not want that? Like, yuck. Like, ugh. lungs, liver, and barley. The barley was just to bulk it up, and the lungs and liver was because they just didn't have anywhere else to get rid of it. Haggis sounds disgusting. I've never had it, so I guess I shouldn't judge because I've never tried it. But no, I really don't know that. I mean, it's just I would rather have a nice ribeye steak or a filet mignon or something like there's really good cuts of meat you can eat without having to go, and eat haggis. That's just me. Yeah. Volfly. Funny thing about haggis, it's illegal in the States. Really? Fluke cycle. Oh, that's the pest, isn't it? Not completely, but it can be circumvented. Wow. I didn't know that. Try Chris Freeman's a Volfly. Better you than me. I know, it sounds disgusting, doesn't it? Everyone's going, yuck. Jeff Dean, 64. Got any favourite movies that feature classic cars like Gumball Rally, Two Lane Black Point, Vanishing Point, and the like? Well, all of those. American Graffiti, obviously. Christine, is a classic. Mate, there's so many. All the Smokey and the Bandits and Gator, that was another Burt Reynolds one, which was shades of Smokey and the Bandit. There's a whole lot of them. And if I'm surfing for programs to watch or movies to watch, and I see something that's set anywhere from the 1970s or earlier, I'll typically have a look and give it a try, just because I like seeing the cars driving. Even from the 70s, I like seeing the cars driving around in those. Not necessarily the movies made in the 70s or 60s, but the movies, a little bit more modern, set in that time period. And seeing some of the really nice, cool old cars is awesome. And that makes it worth watching, even if the movie plot's not that great. The eye candy with the cars makes it all worthwhile. Now, somebody said they like strawberry and rhubarb pie. That's awesome. That's really nice. Barracuda, blue cod livers are very nice, dipped in flour and fried. Really? Wow. I did not know that was a thing. Volfly, I prefer many other things to haggis, but I will eat it. Be right back. Got to turn the pork chops over. Yeah, well, I mean, you're conspicuous by the fact that you're eating pork chops and not haggis. But hey. Max level crumble topping is the knurling equivalent for pies. Blackberry peach for me, please. But all pies are great. That's funny. Oh, dear. Steve Sadusky, knurling a piston is for those old antique tractors, cars that aren't driven, just so they can move, but with a lot of blue smoke too. Yeah. To use it in a performance application is, I don't know. I mean, it's not, I want to say like it's bullshit, but I mean, I guess that's me trying to say it's a fact. And, I believe it's bullshit. It's just silliness, really. It's just silliness. The science that goes into high performance pistons and the things that they do at speed and the piston speeds and stuff like that, to then knurl it, it's like trying to be a jeweler with a 2-pound ball peen hammer. It's just nonsense. But that's just my opinion. So yeah. But Steve Sadusky, I think you've summed it up exactly right there. It's a thing where you can't get those pistons, or darn well it's not going to do really any work to mention of. I mean, those tractors they're doing it on are not, ploughing the back 40, this spring. They're just eye candy. So they just need to be able to start and move under their own power, which the knurling will help them do that. But that's as far as it goes. Anyway, enough about that. Dave, chicken livers and eggs fried in bacon fat on Thanksgiving morning. Yum, yum. I don't know. I've never liked any of the offals, like the internal organs, the livers, kidneys, whatever other stomachs, and it's like ugh. Even tongue, like beef tongue is a thing, and my old man used to really like tongue, but I'm like, I'm not eating that. Barracuda, how about sheep brains? What about sheep brains? They eat monkey brains too, apparently, but yeah, I'm not sure that I want to try it. Paul Funk, kidneys sound about as gross as Rocky Mountain oysters. It's always funny explaining to someone what a Rocky Mountain oyster is when they don't know, especially if it's a female. That's usually quite amusing. Josh Home, so would I. Yeah. There we go. Tavo. If you're ever in South Oz, Kiwi, I'll give you a feed of my favourite lamb recipe. Local Aussie lamb, not that New Zealand stuff. Hey, mate, New Zealand lamb's pretty darn good. But yeah, I'll give it a try. Whereabouts are you, Tavo? So you're South Australia, so you're close to Melbourne, or like whereabouts roughly in South Australia? See, Sadusky, I'd rather have liver and onions. No, I'm not a fan of any of that awful stuff, I'm afraid. There's quite a few things I'm not a fan of. I'm a bit of a fussy bugger like that. You just ask my wife. She complains bitterly about all the stuff that I won't eat. But hey, it's hard to be perfect, mate. It's hard to be perfect. It's Granddad's joke. That's why Scots make whiskey, help get it down. Well, it would help. Yes, it would help. Firefly, no sheep's brains for me. They are idiots. Yeah, sheep are pretty stupid. Yeah, they're not the problem-solving little critters, are they? Lost my place again. The whole knurling for me is like the old motors in some race motors and motorbikes that have roller bearings on the crank journals, less friction, power, but it never lasts. Same story. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people have tried the knurling for a power boost, because people have tried pretty much everything to gain power here and there. But yeah, my experience with knurling was it was a stopgap measure. It was a band-aid. Barracuda, tripe and onions. Nope, not for me. Thank you very much. Nope. Andy Nicol, MMM, mum's steak and kidney pie, nearly as good as her shepherd's pie. She doesn't cook much now since she died at 95. Oh, mate. Well, no, but I mean, you still remember the food, right? I know I remember my mum's food. Shepherd's pie is that. Now, that's a meal. That's good food. Steak and kidney, if you can do the kidney, it's very tasty. But I just can't do the kidney. But yes, good. A nice shepherd's pie, that's hard to beat. No, geez. Driveway of misfits. Mr. Freemesser, Barracuda, sheep brains, better you than me. No pun intended. You. Hands up who knows what the U is, the EWE. That's the female sheep, is a U. There you go. For those of you that didn't know, you learn something every day. Cheers. You're welcome. Barracuda, Kiwi, have you seen The Last American Hero? Yes, I have. It's good. It's very good. Beagle Bob, apple and cheese is good too. Yeah, there's another one I don't like. Cheese. Yeah, don't like cheese. Two-Lane Blacktop, great drag race scenes, but some of the worst acting by a couple of musicians. Yeah, most of those movies weren't great acting. I don't think they got nominated for too many Oscars, but they have a place in history, and if you make a movie that is is as well known as Two-Lane Blacktop, And obviously everybody hasn't heard of it, but that was that. Too late. A lot of people know, and obviously in the hot rodding circles more. But yeah, a pretty big movie, and on a silly small budget. They were cheap movies. Granddad's Junk Tavo, Kiwis are the best sheep shaggers in the world. You Aussies stick to your wallabies. Oh, no. Yes. Granddad's Junk, you must have heard about the cliff top method, or the cliff, what do they call it? Cliff top something. Yes. We won't go into too much detail on that one, but Granddad's Junk is going to be laughing, knows what I mean. Volfly haggis tastes like chopped liver mixed with barley grains. Not fancy, not magnificent, just okay food. Well, I think that's all it was meant to be. Haggis was a thing. In that era of famines and stuff like that. And yeah, when you're hungry enough, stuff starts to taste a lot better. Like when and I don't mean peckish. I really should stop by Macca's on the way home, or Whataburger or something. I mean, I'm talking hungry where you haven't eaten for a couple of days and you're starving. Yeah, food starts to taste a lot better at that point. Not that I really know what that's like, but but back in the days when the haggis was a thing, hunger was a day-to-day problem for people. Beagle Bob, I think pie has taken its place as tonight's off-topic topic. I think you're right. The holes in Australia when I was little in about 1972, my mum gave me lamb's fry, which was the brains rolled up, crumbed and fried in a fry pan. It was common baby food in the 70s. Wow, I didn't know that. Volfly, my wife caught me using pecan pie as bait. Bait for what? That's a new one. Chris Freemesser, Volfly. We're going to get into a discussion about how to pronounce pecan. We'll be here until sunrise. Well, pecan is the correct way to say it. Just so you know, just in case you weren't sure, pecan is the way to say it. I pronounce it pecan. Yes, Beagle Bob. Barracuda, James Taylor's acting was a bit better than Dennis Wilson's. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I lost my place again. The only part of haggis that is edible is the barley. Yeah, I'm with you there. Tavo, 2 hours north of Adelaide. Okay. Been to Adelaide a couple of times. Went to the Formula One Grand Prix there years and years and years ago. I had a very, very good time at the Adelaide Grand Prix. Yes, I was a single man back then, and yes, a good time was had by all. So, yes, Andy Nickel, you guys are making me hungry. Brains on toast, a good tongue sandwich, and a head cheese. Andy Nickel, geez, so much for work. There you go. Yeah. See, we've drawn you in. We've pulled you away from your guitars. So that's cool. I feel like I've achieved something. Steve Sadusky, you're never going to believe this, but I found my O-ring kit. I was empty with another beer, so off to the fridge I go, and there she is on top of the refrigerator. Good grief. Well, glad you found it, but man, I feel your pain. I really, really do. Yeah, amount of stuff I put down in the workshop, and I cannot remember where I put it. And then when I finally see it, it's like it all comes back. I completely remember putting it there, but 30 seconds earlier, I had no clue. Haggis, tripe, and onions, all best used to induce vomiting. Oh dear. Snow Crusher, a tongue sandwich just doesn't speak to me. Well, no. No. Javo, I hear Mariah Carey did a different version of her Christmas song in New Zealand. All I want for Christmas is a you. If you eat sheep, Paul Funk, if you eat sheep's brains, does it make you smarter? Well, I guess that depends on who's eating it. And I'm tempted to say something derogatory here, but I won't. Yes, some people I know could benefit probably from eating sheep's brains. But yeah, I'll say no more on that one. Dave Haggis, I'll go vegan first. Well, that would become a much, given those two options, the vegan would start to look a lot better. If it was vegan or roast lamb, that'd be a different story. There's a Barracuda. There's a Monty Python sketch in which they eat John Cleese's mother with roast potatoes and broccoli. Oh my God, really? Well, that sounds like a Monty Python thing to do. They were pretty off the wall, weren't they? Volfly, every now and then I will order rack of lamb in a restaurant and watch to see who I offend. Okay, you got me there, Volfly. How and why would you offend someone with ordering that rack of lamb? Okay, you'll have to explain that one to me, bud. That's gone over my head. Chris Freemasser. Well, I am feeling a bit peckish. Yes. Barracuda, I haven't forgotten the underarm bowl yet. Gosh, how long ago was that? What year was that? I was a kid when that happened. Or young, certainly youngish anyway. Our American viewers aren't going to have a clue what you're talking about, Barry. Granddad's junk. I'm laughing my head off. That's why Fred Dagg wore gumboots. Yeah, there you go. Barracuda. Oh, she was quite young. Oh, Monty Python. John Cleese's mother. Yeesh. Beagle Bob. Wow, it has flown by. The second hour flew by. Maybe because I had my single barrel jack in the first half. That could be part of it. Oh, you were on a roll, Steve Sadusky. You guys are saying we are having a funny night tonight, which is cool. And yeah, it's 2 minutes to 9. That I started reading that first little bit of the comment there, and I looked down. And I was like, wow, yeah, that second hour has flown by. We can bury her, burn her, or eat her. Obviously, you guys know this little part of Monty Python quite well. We've got a cooker. Driveway of Misfits. You're very sharp there. I'm guessing the underarm bowl was a cricket match between New Zealand and Australia. Yes, it most definitely was. Very infamous match. And yeah, it was down to the last delivery, and the result could have gone either way. And the Aussies did an underarm pitch, which was basically unhittable. And I think New Zealand needed like 4 runs off the last ball. So it wasn't the rules. There was no rule about them not doing it, so they did it. So they didn't actually break any rules, but it was seen as being very unsportsmanlike, and it's never gone away. That's a little rub between the Australians and New Zealand for what must be 4 decades or something. I can't remember when it happened, but it was probably the 80s. But yeah, that has never and probably never will, as long as there's cricket. I think that will come up. But hey, Granddad's Junkie's probably referring to the secretary waitress sweet as lamb with a large rack. Barracuda, 81, I think. Yeah, well, there you go. I said it had to be the 80s, so yeah. Unfinished project. Got a bourbon there, mate, have you? Tavo, yes, very poor sportsmanship. It's history, and I mean it was a game. There's much worse things go on in the world than stretching the rules on a game. So yeah, I mean, in saying that, I was there, right there with the rest of the Kiwis, like Australians, yeah, New Zealand was very butt hurt about that. But it's really, you've just got to dispatch it off to the humour of history. Like things like that happen, and it wasn't a great war; it was just a game. So yeah. All right, guys. Snow Crusher. I'll take a buckwheat blood sausage for the win. Ugh. Yeah. Steve Sadusky, there's nothing better than Kiwis Live. Give a like, guys. I look forward to Tuesday nights. Never know what the topic will be. From cars to ungodly unique food. Absolutely. Tavo, 3/4 of Australia were with you too, Kiwi. Yeah, it wasn't a win. Really, yes, Australia, the team won the game, but I don't think anybody really won from it. But hey, you live and learn. I don't imagine any Australian cricket players would try and do something like that again. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, 9:02, time to go, guys. It's been a great night. It's been lots of fun and laughter, and yeah. Now again, remind you, won't be here next Tuesday night. I'm going to be vacationing down in Florida. If I see anything cool, any old hot rod shops, car yards, car shows, whatever, I will try and film it and throw it up on YouTube. And in the meantime, save up all your funny stories for 2 weeks, 2 weeks' time, and come back and make me laugh again and tell me what you're working on. So have a great night, rest of your day, depending where you are, and have a good 2 weeks coming up, and I'll see you then. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good one.